You really get close to God when you stare at a ceiling for 2 years. At 17, overnight, I pretty much became bedbound. I dealt with like brain swelling and seizures every day, and I got about 20 different autoimmune diagnoses. I truly feel like I'm on borrowed time.
So y'all are having those conversations, you're meeting in person. Is this when you're like, oh, I might really like this guy?
Okay, I'm gonna be so real. I always was with somebody where it was like butterflies and the chaos, and there's a little bit of the toxicity, but it was like, this isn't the guy that I typically go
not
for.
The roller coaster, yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't the roller coaster.
Choose your partner like your life depends on it, because it might. Welcome back to the Dear Future Husband podcast. I'm your host, Christian, and today I am joined by my friend Ava, who yesterday was the birthday girl. We celebrated you turning 25.
Yes.
Which I don't know why. I feel like after you turn 21, age is just a number.
Oh, 100%.
I'm like, we're so kindred.
I don't know how old any of my friends are at this point.
That's crazy. We're all just young, thriving, healthy. But I looked at her during dinner and I just said, we got to talk about your love story and a lot of the things you're doing entrepreneurially, the way you share wisdom with women, which we'll get to in a minute. But y'all, her husband just planned out the sweetest day for her. We surprised her at breakfast. I thought you might punch me when I was there because you're like, what's going on?
Did you see how
I know, I came like this close to your face. You're like, who is this woman?
She's like, hi.
But you were reading your Bible, and I do feel like personally for you, you guys are entering like just this beauty in your relationship, that you're getting deeper rooted in your faith. And I wanted to talk about your love story because it's kind of different than how people say their vows of like, oh, in sickness and health, that's never going to happen. But you guys have a crazy pre-sickness thing.
Yeah.
And you guys are walking in more and more health, more wisdom, I guess even more faith. So I just want to give you the floor. What does healing look like for you guys, and how is that woven into how you even met your husband?
Yeah, well, that's a really great question. And
it is
more
about you. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. And it's like, it's just flip-flopped. I'd say, what is the stereotypical love story and how we really connected and met. And it really is a Hallmark movie. So like, nobody take this. It's a great Hallmark movie. I'm
copyrights.
Like, the copyrights. But we met at 17. I had basically overnight, I pretty much became bedbound. I dealt with like brain swelling and seizures every day. My mom became my caregiver, and I got about 20 different autoimmune diagnoses. So it happened quickly. I had issues growing up of like asthma, allergies, but never severe where it would ever hinder my life quality. Like played varsity sports, all good. And so when that happened, basically my mom became a caregiver. I went to like Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic. I went more the Western route first, and just grew up on a farm in Indiana. That's what I knew. That's what just was, I'd say, normal to me and what I thought the route you should take. And I couldn't get better, and I just got like the medications and the diagnoses. Truth be told, at that point, I was cool with taking the meds. I'm like, just fix me.
Help me feel better.
Yeah, help me feel better. I wanted like life quality. I didn't care. So through that, it was a total God thing. I didn't get better, started changing my diet, like looking into supplements, parasite cleansing, anything I could like Google online.
2 years, right, of being bedbound?
2 years. Year and a half bedbound for sure. Like I couldn't shower without passing out. So my heart, and they diagnosed me with POTS, which is like postural orthopedic tachycardia. You stand up, you shower, your blood pressure, your heart can't regulate, but they don't tell you why.
Yeah.
So you're just getting this host of like liver issues, your heart's going, your brain's swelling. But I didn't really I got the names, but okay, so this is what you should do. Other than the medications, which just weren't giving me the quality. But crazy, crazy God thing, within that time span, my dad's golf buddy was a doctor. Yeah. Was a doctor.
Sure, bring him on. Anybody.
Bring anybody. He was a doctor. So they golfed together, but he was also a doctor.
Okay.
Fair. Like
you took one class, great.
Like,
help me out.
Yeah, I was like, come in. So he was a golf buddy. He had trained under Dr. Pompa, who lived in Utah. I lived in Indiana. So he connected me and was like, whoa, she's got to meet this guy. So we do a phone call, and he didn't usually take clients my age because they stereotypically wouldn't listen. Like it wasn't usually that bad, but I was that bad. I would do anything. And so we met virtually online, and he took me on as a client, and I started getting better. It was just all about like, let's remove, like you have this innate intelligence in your body, like God-given. You're not broken, just like really encouraging to know. He was asking questions other doctors hadn't asked, which I'm like, okay, so I have a chance.
Yeah.
I have a chance.
You need hope.
I needed hope because the amount of Facebook groups I subscribed to were nobody got out. You know, like chronic illness, you just saw almost like the negative. And if somebody got better, there was almost like jealousy or upset. Like, oh, that wouldn't work for me because XYZ. So I start getting better and we start just like removing. Like he works in cellular health. So we're looking at all of these different causative factors like environment, dental, like heavy metal exposure. And so like literally my weight's dropping off because I didn't mention I gained 40 pounds, covered in eczema. I couldn't put water on my face. My mom took down the mirrors in our home because like water hurt. Like I remember taking a shower and just crying and then your tears burn. The eczema, like it was just gnarly.
Buddy.
Oh, it was depressing.
That's so
very humbling.
Your mom probably was just struggling watching you.
She's strong. My mom was my rock. Like my mom was truly my rock. She was so solid, like so in the word, would pray over me. Because like you really get close to God when you stare at a ceiling for 2 years. Like you have nothing else to think about. I remember thinking like, wow, like what a way to grow my faith. Like you're just distraction free. Yeah. And I didn't want to die because of the faith, but I could not imagine, I didn't even mention, like I had arthritis. So the amount of crying you do from the pain, like physical pain, it was like, I felt like Job.
As a teenager, yeah.
I genuinely, like I would just reread Job, but then I remember thinking like, well, I have my family. Got that. Yeah. Like I was stoked. I'm like, well, I'm not as bad as that. So like to bring it forward how I met my husband, what was really crazy is obviously, I work with this doctor in Utah. I don't know much about his family. We've never even met face-to-face, only virtual. So on one of our calls, like he was a Christian as well, he would pray at the end. And so he's praying. And then he asked me, which he never asked me for anything. And of course, I look up to him. Like he just pretty much saved my life. Like I'm able to start nannying again. Like it was slow and steady. Like I can drive my car. Just my life's coming back. I'm very like, I want to be involved in everything, like very bubbly. I love life. Love
you
life.
You love people, love life.
Oh yeah, it's fun. Like I feed off of people's energy. And so I remember he asked me something. I'm like, oh my gosh, he asked me, I gotta take this seriously. And so he's like, hey, will you pray for my son? He broke his back cliff diving, jumped off 60 feet. They told him to jump from the wrong spot, his friends, and never made it to the water. Fell in. Shattered everything, and people in a boat that were drunk, like, saved him. So they're, like, pulling him in, thinking he's fine. And I don't know him, though. So I'm hearing this story, and I'm like, oh, my gosh, like, yes. So I'm, like, in my prayer journal, I'm like, pray for Daniel, pray for Daniel. I have no idea who Daniel is. I don't know. I need to find that journal.
You just know he broke his back.
I know he broke his back. And I'm like, I better take this seriously. Like, he asked me for something, like, this doctor. And so I'm praying for him, thinking about him. And then 3 months later, like, I don't hear a follow-up because we only met every so many months and he's not like texting me updates. So I see a post on social media on Facebook or Instagram, one of the two, and he was standing on a hike like with his dad.
Just a few months later. Sounds like Forrest Frank.
It was, just nuts, like completely nuts, unreal. So this is where our stories differ. But he requested to follow me I requested, that's what I think would happen in my head. But I requested to follow him. I said that wrong. So I requested to follow him. But I'm curious because he's private. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he's alive.
Yeah.
And so, but then.
What I've been praying for.
Totally. Like it's curious too. I'm like, what? This is crazy. So I requested to follow him. And then he slides in my DMs like 2 days later. But not flirty, just like commentary. And he doesn't know I was his dad's client. Has no idea. Okay. And so I'm getting stem cells at one point in my journey. And he's like, are you getting stem cells, with Raphael? And I'm like, one word answer. I'm like, yes. He's like, at Cancun here? I'm like, yes. Like, I'm not engaging really in it. I'm like, oh, this is kind of crazy. Yeah. I remember I was laying in bed with my mom, and I'm like, Mom, my doctor DM'd me because they have the same name. And I was like, Daniel? Oh, I'm like, oh, no, his son. So that was just crazy in itself. And then through there, like really how everything started, his dad still has no idea. He just keeps reaching out, and then we keep talking. But he would never compliment me. So you
didn't know what his MO was.
I didn't know what his intention was. Okay. I was very intrigued by that. Like that's a really good pointer if you want to get a girl's attention. Don't be like everybody else where you're just like, you're so beautiful, you're da-da-da-da. Like it was.
I feel like the overt flirting is just, it might seem like it would work, but it's like, Oh, you don't even know me. Why are you
You don't know
Get
me.
to know me first.
Get to know you. And also, you got to stand out. Like, you have to stick out a little bit. So there was like humor. I'm curious. There's a little mystery. I know all these things. I'm like, interesting. Okay. And so we just kind of kept reaching out and commenting on stuff I was doing, but never flirty. It was always funny. And then eventually he wants to FaceTime. And I remember we FaceTimed for like 2 hours, hit it off. And then he's like, hey, I'll call you back after dinner. I'm like, oh, he likes me. Like, you're going to go to dinner and call me back? And just for 2 weeks, we FaceTimed for 5 hours every night. And then he lived in Utah. I lived in Indiana. Never had a boyfriend. I dated, but I thought I had commitment issues. I would just like, I was a ghoster, which is unhealthy, which is not.
Well, you were just in bed, so you're probably like, we're not going to meet up.
I think it was like a coping, we're not going to meet up. But I'm like, also before that, I think I was like 15 dating.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and I wasn't allowed to date. So that was probably a
even better,
big part of it.
Yeah.
So I remember when he told his dad he was flying out to see me, his dad's like, oh no, Daniel, I like her. She comes from a good family. Like, not her. Please, not her. Because he kind of has a crazy testimony. And so he met God a little later in life. And so I think his dad was just like, oh, they're a great family. Like, why my client? This is weird. He's like, oh, of course. I'm not going to go to Indiana unless I have good intentions. But he flew out to see me, got an Airbnb for like 5 days. 5 days. That's intimidating. You know, like, never met the person, but like got an Airbnb, like took me on all these dates. There was a lot of, it was very intentional, like talking about marriage in the beginning. Not like us getting married, but like his goals and his intention. Like, it was very dialed in.
I consider that a green flag. We just did an episode on that, actually.
Cool. Christian approved.
Good job, Daniel. Breaking the back. Talking about intentions, yes. Yeah. So y'all are having those conversations. You're meeting in person. Is this when you're like, oh, I might really like this guy?
Okay, I'm going to be so real. This is very similar. I was listening to Riley's story. No, I did not like, I'm like, this isn't my type. This isn't the guy. I don't know. And I think I was fearful of almost feeling like, oh, this is a big deal. Like, he's super serious. And then also now, hindsight learning, I think the same way you almost like, I always was with somebody where it was like crazy. We'd go on a couple dates, like almost like talk, like she was talking about the butterflies and the chaos. And there's a little bit of the toxicity where I was like, oh, he's cute. But, you know, I don't know. This isn't typically like, he wasn't straight laced, but it was like, this isn't the guy that I typically go for.
The roller coaster, yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't the roller coaster. But then it was just so crazy. Immediately we became like best friends. And he was so sure of what he wanted. And I remember when he left after like 3 or 4 days together, I think I was like a little bit rocky and unsure in the beginning. And then I'm like, whoa, I miss him. Because then there's the long distance component. So then you have time to reflect and think. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's really cool. Like, he makes me laugh so much. We have all of these shared values. And so it was kind of more slow and steady. Yeah. But I think you don't know, like, I hate the term your type, because your type didn't work out for a reason. You know what I mean? Right. Something was awry or missing. So it wasn't like love at first sight for me, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. I also feel like your type, it's like there might be one thing that unites all those different types together, but they're also different. And so it's like you don't have this one stereotype that you're going for. Like, I thought, okay, I want to be creative, so I need to be with someone creative because that just makes sense. And I'm like, Arden is creative in his own right, but he's not like a musician or
like what you're envisioning or picturing of this imaginary person.
Right. Yeah. That you contrived when you were in high school and didn't even know yourself. Yeah.
Totally.
So I think there's interesting things there of like, of course, we're maturing always. And so it's like, are we allowing what we're expecting to mature as well?
It's a good point.
But it sounds like you did through that time of like, oh, okay, I thought it would look this way. I'm not sure this is I'm not going to write it off, but I'm going to say, okay, let's see how this develops. And is this actually what I was thinking? I just didn't know.
Totally. And well, and to your point, I think having really good, whether it's like mentors or friends around you who have really, really solid values. My mom immediately, my mom's my, again, rock, like took care of me physically through my illness, but she was always so centered in God. And I always had such a good example where it wasn't rule-based religion. It was always relational. And it wasn't don't have sex. It was, okay, there's soul ties, there's STDs, there's pregnancies. This is God's heart for you.
Yeah.
This will hurt you in the long run.
It
this
was
makes
depth.
cloud your,
Insane.
there was such understanding, and she had such wisdom. And immediately she's like, because again, I was the stereotypical ghoster. She was like, be nice. She's like, don't. Be good. I mean, Ava, come on.
Yeah.
And so she kind of was in my ear as well with that. And I think that helped.
And so they met him when they came out and they liked him.
Oh, my dad came home early from a golf trip and sat him down in front of my entire family, my 2 brothers, on the couch, my mom, and just grills him. So like,
you know he's committed if he stays through that.
oh yeah. I'm like, and my dad shows up not supposed to be there. So just like he's a little taken off guard. Oh my goodness, I thought I'm meeting him tonight or tomorrow.
Right.
And so he just grills him like, what's your intention? Are there not girls in Utah? Like, why come here? Just basically trying to get him to go away.
I feel like every guy needs that though. I think the problem with dating in this day and age is like in some ways it's so comfortable.
Oh yeah.
You can't even ask yourself, am I committed to this or not? Because there's not the prompting. It's like so easy to coast. And so shout out to all the dads that are grilling.
Good job,
guys
Brian.
out there and the older brothers. And so I love that. And so you guys get together and then obviously you're both coming through, you know, his actual testimony, but also what he saw from his parents in health.
Yeah.
You have your own journey through health. So I feel like in some ways that probably matured you both.
For sure.
When we say yes to someone in sickness and in health, like
For sure.
through the ups and the downs, did that have more of a scope of what marriage, like what your yes actually intended rather than just the Pinterest and the butterflies?
Oh, for sure. And I mean, full
having a partner.
transparency, like Christian, I didn't want to get married. I didn't want to have kids. Like,
Really? Because of what you went through? Or
I think I just like
social?
always rebelled in a little bit of a way. My dad was always like, oh, you're the girl, like you're going to get married, you're going to have kids. I'm like, ugh, as if no. And so I almost just like pendulumed or went against it. So I wasn't this person. I remember he would be talking about marriage and I'm like, I don't know. And maybe that was just through my illness. I felt behind and I'm trying to catch up and wrap my head around it. It wasn't, I always thought, go to college, work the 9 to 5, you know, like I'm going to be a boss babe. I'm going to be independent. Like I kind of had, I don't know why.
Yeah,
but I had
like
this
farmer in Indiana. I thought you would have been like,
no, all my friends wanted to be a stay-at-home wife. I'm like, not me. And then I'm like complete 180 of what God wanted for me. And I think it evolved. So what was really cool is when I met him, to answer your question though. So like to go a little back when you asked about the marriage, I'm like, that really wasn't what I envisioned for myself. But what shifted and happened over time is I always had God's wisdom and I always like was very, very like very diligent with like I'm reading my Bible, I'm praying, and I know what his word says and I want to follow that. And so with that being said, Daniel, when I met him, started this company where he took his dad's work and went just from like instead of straight to the doctor to the client. And so as that was starting, he's like, hey, you should do consulting. And I'm like, great, I'm broke. Sure. Like, I'll do this in college. And then it took off. And then I'm like, wait, I'll do this and I'll go back to college. And then I never went back. But again, I didn't have a plan. If you have a plan, that's great to go to college. So I didn't really have a plan. There was not the need. And through that, what happened even with like the marriage side of things is we're not living together. We're both working full time. And so it's like, with doing it God's way, I feel like that sped up our timeline where we were married like a year and a half into knowing each other, where that really wasn't my intention, but like everything was checking off. You know what I mean? And I feel like if you do it God's way, it truly is like the fruits of that. It's so much easier.
Yeah.
It is so much easier. Like I've seen so many friends and just like people walking through really tough situations where if we look at this black and white, if we just did this God's way, our vision like wouldn't be clouded. There wouldn't be some of these like consequences to things going on. Like it gets really messy when you start like justifying, no, like we can live together or whatever it is. And I know that's like kind of a sensitive topic, but it really gets really messy. And so that sped it up into something I didn't envision or imagine, I guess, if that answers your question.
Yeah. Well, when you're not taking shortcuts, the road's a lot clearer.
It was.
Because it's like, we could go this route, we can go left or right. And it's like, no, I want to stay straight.
Yeah.
And I want to keep letting God show us, and not just this on Christianese, but yeah, there's so many distractions in so many ways of life, but especially dating. Mm-hmm. And so I love that you're like, okay, well, you know what? I'm still figuring some stuff out, but I
Yeah.
know where to keep stepping. And so
Totally.
the vision's going to get clearer and clearer.
Yes. And
Which
I
you
always
poor
had
thing.
that
I mean, you
wisdom.
didn't get to go to prom. You're in
I know, I was
so
telling you
you're
that.
probably like, I need to rebel and do something because I missed out on the rebellion season.
I remember thinking that, which is so bad. And maybe God redirected me from college because I remember thinking, oh my goodness, I missed out. Like, let me go have fun in college. Which I never even, in my head, I'm thinking, oh, I'm not going to do certain things. But you're already starting that mindset of like, oh, I need to make up, which is not healthy. You know what I mean? But I remember thinking that, and I dropped out my first week of college. So I didn't go.
So
We never made it.
Which, I mean, hey, it's worked out. You're here.
It worked out.
Successful, married. Y'all have a little girl, Dove, who you guys just adore. And so I'm curious if you can probably reflect back and look at the ways where God protected you from bitterness from what you went through, how he did confirm, marriage and motherhood to you. And not that that's the only route, like we're saying, if college and career is a thing for you, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And we see so many stories of that. But I feel like the big thing highlighting to me is like, well, don't miss what God has illuminated for you just because you think,
because you're set in your ways.
Or I'm set in my ways.
I'm set in my way. Like, this is what I think God has for me. And I always just saw this like path for myself. But being open to, I'm like, wait, this aligns with everything. And it is surprising me, and just being open to that. And that's why I think it's really, really in tune to like, you can mix up your voice with God's. Like,
yeah,
in my opinion,
you really can.
Because you have an internal dialogue that you're listening to all day long, and sometimes that can be a little heavier in influence. And so that's why I think it's really, really important to stay grounded in like what God says is true in His wisdom and His word. But the cool thing is how it shaped motherhood. I mean, I think I briefly brought this up to you too. I never really envisioned having kids young. And like, I was excited when I was pregnant, but I'm like, oh, I don't know.
What are we doing?
What am I doing?
Because you were 23 when you got pregnant?
Was it? Yeah. I was 23. And then I had her at 24. No, I was 22. I had her at 23. Oh, wow. Wait, I'm bad at math. I don't know. Somewhere in that timeline. I had her, and I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. And then it's so innate and it's so natural. Didn't even have like the birth that I wanted. And immediately when I held her, I was like, whoa, this is the coolest thing ever. And kids make the mundane fun. One of my best friends, Emily, told me that. And I'm like, wait, that's so true. Like, really, they make the mundane fun.
It just adds purpose and joy and gratitude.
All the little things, I'm just like so on fire. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she has a rock. Yeah. I'm excited. Look at her.
You go on a walk and you're like, that was so fun. We found a million things. And you walk by yourself and you're like, just scrolling.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that you said that there's just this joy that you didn't even expect. And I think that it's like challenging the narrative of, and there's so many different narratives. There's a narrative of if you don't meet someone when you're young, you're never going to meet them. Or if you get married and have kids too young, then you're going to miss out on all this life. And or if you're going through a disease, then it's impossible to get over it. But
totally,
I want to highlight Psalm 103 if you're like, I need to hear more about the healing.
Yeah.
I love this verse, and I've seen my father-in-law pray this over people. And he's like, I'm going to pray for you, but I'm also going to speak the word that is truth over you. And sometimes I was like, oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could do that. And Psalm 103 says, bless the Lord, O my soul, forget not all his benefits, who forgives all your iniquity and heals all your diseases, who redeems your life from the pit, who crowns you with steadfast love and mercy. And I just feel like this is what you guys walk out, one for testimony, but then also you want people to be in a place of health.
Yeah.
We know that that's like mind, body, soul.
Mm-hmm.
It's the physical and the spiritual and the emotional. Yeah. And we briefed over this, but Ava and her husband are part of an incredible company, and what you do is you, in a professional sense, but even with your friends, you're like, hey, how can we get you as healthy?
Oh, I love fixing things. I'm like, what can I do to help you? Or like, just if somebody has anything going on or cramps, I'm like, oh my gosh, so you need this hormone hot cocoa and these gut healing marshmallows, and those are the fun stuff. How
to make those.
Yeah, well, I can give it to you.
We can do this.
Yeah, we can do that. But I think what I always wanted to encourage, and Grace even alluded to this last night, I remember just meeting her, and we both had a similar chronic illness journey. And she said it when she's like reading, they're all saying really nice things to me, and they're reading cards, and I was crying. And she just said, you just spoke with such like truth and hope that I'm going to heal. And you were so sure of it, even though like she couldn't work out, she couldn't be in heat, she couldn't do all these things that, you know, were very hard when she's going through this physical illness. And it's just through what I've seen, if there's always the physical, chemical, and emotional, kind of like you shared, but like there's a reason you're not healing. And like that's so empowering. Like God made your body with this innate intelligence. Like you get a cut, like you heal. And it's like we almost kind of forget that, and we think it's going to be this like fancy or like expensive thing. Like there's just something missed if you're not like getting the results that you're working for. And so I've seen it through the work with the company my husband started, and just also like through working with his dad. But it's so fun to give that to other people because I know how much it shifted my life. Hope. Yeah. Things I never dreamed of. Like I wasn't driving my car for years. So I never cared
right
about...
after you got your license too, you're probably like, well, there it went.
I remember when Daniel met me, he's like, you're such a bad driver. And I'm like, well, I haven't drove in a long time. I went into the wrong lane. I'm not. I'm good now.
It also says who keeps you from getting in car crashes because you can't drive.
Yeah, no, I shouldn't. I think I was just nervous, but truly it was, I mean... I just like love encouraging and helping people through that because there's so much we can do, and you don't need to stay in that place of truly like, I mean, like I could have stayed there. I could have gone on like the disability route. I could have like had my mom be my caregiver, but like you got to put in the work and like shift that mindset and outlook of like, okay, I'm going to partner with God for this healing.
Yes.
And exactly like you said, like people speaking truth over you and praying over you. When I was sick, I remember like that meant so much to me who should have. Because one thing we haven't chatted about, but like you lose so many friends. Like I like died for 2 years. So the people that, and again, they have their own stuff going on. The people that like love you through it and see you, I have such a heart for that. Because I know how it feels.
Right.
You know?
Your friend that was at the dinner last night that grew up with you, is she one of those that stuck by you?
She would show up. I couldn't do anything or go anywhere. And she would just like lay with me.
That's a friend.
Literally lay with me. Yeah.
As you're saying that, I was reminded what I just read in Jeremiah. It's talking about the people of Israel being restored after a time where they've been sent away to Babylon. But it just stuck out to me when I read this yesterday. And it said, Rachel is weeping for her children. She refuses to be comforted for her children because they are no more. Thus says the Lord, keep your voice from weeping and your eyes from tears, for there is a reward for your work, declares the Lord. And I don't think we hear about health and work.
Yeah.
That kind of sounds like, no, I just want to get healed. But you put in the work, you put in the faith work, the healing work. And some women listening might be opposite of you of, well, hey, I went through something hard and it made me not want kids or not want to get married. And some people are like, well, I just want to be married, but I'm already experiencing, maybe it's PCOS or hormone imbalance. Like something is happening where so many people are sicker than they've ever been.
Oh my gosh.
And we can blame, the water, the towers, whatever it may be. But I want to live from this place of, yes, faith of, okay, God heals me from all the diseases. But then also, what's that work that I can be doing?
I remember going to a church when I was sick, and they basically told me, like, if I had more faith, I'd be healed. Like you're not, what you hear is, like, you're not deep in your faith enough. Like, you caused this. If you actually were close with God, like, he would have healed you. And that is like heavy as a 17-year-old to be told that. And I think sometimes we're like, oh, I need this immediate healing. And if I'm not, like, it's your fault. And it just made me think of that story with Job where, I mean, like, he was perfect, like, and blameless. And it wasn't on him, but he's still stuck with God. In the same way, it's like, okay, this is a fallen, broken world. This isn't about me, but God can use it. And God did redeem. It was so funny. I felt so behind in that season of, like, my friends are going to prom, they're going to the next grade, they're going to college. I'm still stuck here. Like, I'm so behind. And then what was funny and the irony is then my life became ahead just in the season at a very, very young age. But with that conversation that Nicoletta brought up that I thought was just so, so good is there is just so much we can do to partner with God to remove, and some simple, really easy, quick fixes that are cheap is, I know you're talking about, like, filtering the water. There is a lot, there's birth control, there's antidepressants in water, like well water, getting that in your home, being careful about that, trying to get glass water bottles when you're out. An easy one, not easy, but like really important one is looking at, like, organic food or at least non-GMO. Because you go to Italy and people aren't bloating or dealing with the same issues. Yeah. And you're eating pizza, pasta, and I mean, ice cream for every meal.
And it's great.
And it's just the genetically modified food is illegal. So that is a big component. Trying to avoid the inflammatory seed oils, looking at personal care products. And you don't need to do this all at once. Like, use what you have and then make a swap. There's clean stuff at Sephora. I mean, it can be as simple as just like Ilia, Kosas, Lawless are all great brands. And get off birth control if you're a girl. Doesn't just
so
plain
problematic.
plain and simple, problematic. Then you're also more motivated to live for God. So win-win. Or like if you're married, I mean, there's like family planning. There's apps like Daisy. You can track your cycle naturally. I'm trying to think of the other big ones.
Do you feel like you need to, because there's some, I even look at the generation before us, and like, especially when it comes to when they were giving birth and like medicine, is they were just following what some people were saying. And then to their sad detriment is it was problematic.
Yeah.
And so I think that awoke in this idea of what I need to take more authority into researching what I should and shouldn't take, which is hard. I wish it could be like the experts in their field are doing this. Like, I shouldn't rely on my son to be like, oh, well, teach yourself how to potty train because I'm going to tell you one way that's not going to work. Like, that's sad. It should be coming from the top down. But if we're in this situation where we are recognizing people are feeling sicker than ever, all this stuff. So the best way for women to take authority if maybe they're feeling some symptoms or they're like, hey, before I feel anything, I just want to take control. What are the top 3 areas you would say? So I'm hearing diet, products.
I would say diet, products, and I'd say the home. The environmental is a really, and dental. Dental's big, and dental's one of like the biggest missing pieces. I dealt with chronic Lyme disease, so like root canals, mercury fillings. Those are big issues. If you need more information and need a really, really good resource, there's this movie they took off Netflix called Root Cause. And basically it was a filmmaker going through how he got this root canal, and he went down rabbit holes of trying to figure out why his health deteriorated. And it was like these root canals. And the same thing can happen with a tooth removal, which wisdom teeth removal is one of the most popular surgeries. And a lot of times when I'm like going to go a little nerdy for a moment, you'll see it in the movie, but when you remove a tooth, and typically in the States, they don't remove the whole periodontal ligament. And so there's not enough blood flow. So what happens is the gum heals over, but the bone never fully grows back, which leaves these pockets of infection where people end up getting like chronic Lyme disease, chronic long haulers, COVID, or Epstein-Barr, whatever it is. These are opportunistic issues where if that bone never healed back, then the problem is they have like little spaces to go. It's like a cave. So we're so focused on killing the bacteria or the bear in the cave. We just got to fix the cave. And then the bacteria will go away.
Okay, if someone is, which some people are like, I thought
So,
this
like,
was a
dental
relationship
food.
podcast.
I know.
And it is, but there are genuine things that can affect your marriage and can affect your life quality. And so I feel like, you know, we want to be whole and healthy and happy in our relationships, but that also takes us being whole and healthy, happy individuals. So if someone is starting to experience some stuff, what's, I know it can seem almost overwhelming of where do I start to even figure out what could be going on? Do you guys have like a introductory program, or even if you're like, hey, if you can't afford anything, just try this to help?
Totally. Well, there's all like the info that we were chatting about. Like Dr. Pompa has so much good free info on his website. So start there. Or there's something called, even like we do the prep phase where we do a 30-day cellular reset. So whether you're nursing or pregnant or whatever, you know, more financially tight, 100% you can go that route. If you're looking for a more like to work with his team of Dr. Pompa and his team of experts on the removal side of things to like get to all your interferences, you can look at the test kit on the website and then meet with an expert and see if there's an alignment of like, hey, we could help you address da-da-da-da, and this has been missed. So there's multiple options like based on where you're at, and it's all on the website laid out. But you can start with the small stuff. And I feel like somebody always told me this, and I thought it was really impactful. Like, knowledge is power. Kind of like applied knowledge is power, because you can have good info, but it's the same thing with God. It's like you got to take that partnership in action. You can't just like put it all on him and then you're not walking the walk or living it out. So I view it very much as like, if this is my values and this is what I align with and I align with God, I need to walk it out. Because the same way, it's like, not saying you never sin or stumble. If you love God, like your heart and your life reflects that. You know what I mean? Like you
there's
see
fruit.
Yeah, you see the fruit. You see the alignment. And so I'd say those are the main things. The Root Cause movie is so good. and just to be a little nerdy for a second, they did root canals in rabbits, and 100% of them died of a heart attack.
Oh my goodness.
There is such correlation to no, but there was you're not a rabbit.
Yeah.
But there's correlations between these things and cancer and I think it makes me excited.
Teeth correlate to different parts of your body, like
meridians.
each tooth.
Yes. So they saw with breast cancer, which in a way is encouraging because we think we're just broken or, oh my gosh, this is going on. But like your body's not broken and it's not failing you. And that was very, like for somebody going through something that I felt like my body failed me, no, I just didn't have the right approach. And like I was bombarded through all of these different angles of toxicity.
Yeah. And your body did heal with the right help.
For sure.
So,
and that's encouraging.
It is. So we have this innate ability and we have the power of the word. And I love what you shared about faith, just to talk on that a little bit, is I don't think so much it's you have faith or you don't, and faith either heals you or you don't. It's like faith has to be active throughout the ups and the downs. Like it carries us. Because like you said, Job had faith and everything was lost and he wasn't answered and his friends left him too. So you're not alone in that.
Everything.
But then that faith remained and he was restored. And so I feel like faith was present through all of it.
Yeah.
God was present through all of it. And so I think just putting faith on the outcome alone.
Oh, for sure.
Deteriorates the actual journey and the thing that faith is actually supposed to produce in us.
Yeah.
So that was just my side tangent on that. But one more thing that Nicola, we're just featuring Nicola as a third guest here. She said last night, she said, what I love about Ava is if someone's having a bad response or something, she's like, oh, they just have something going on that's helping them. And so I feel like there's
someone
power.
was mean and I'm like, it's probably their liver, their thyroid. They're just sick.
Yeah.
They
just have toxins.
They're just
toxins.
Around. It's okay.
And I know that there's power. I think this is the interesting part of where, we hear of like faith in politics and then like faith in health. It's like there is this dance between the two. So I'm like, there is renewing my mind. But then sometimes it's like, okay, well, maybe there is something deeper that's like, you are so anxious or you're so overwhelmed or you're so rude because maybe there's something deeper going on. Yeah. Is that true?
Yes. Yes, like it genuinely, I mean, think about it. And I was a more extreme case. Not everybody's so extreme. But what's interesting is in this day and age, and I think this was so eye-opening to me as well, like I'm such a geek with this, like glyphosate, do we know it's new? It's 50 to 60 years ago. About 49 or 50 years is implemented. So when our parents say, this is the food I grew up on.
Into the food.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's significantly changed. And that opens our barrier in our blood-brain barrier in our gut where all these toxins that our parents were exposed to couldn't go as deep because they had the safe barrier. So now you can't demonize one thing. People are like, it's the food, it's the water, it's the combo, it's the overload. That's what we always talk about, the bucket theory. But what was your question? I'm going on these tangents.
No, I love this. I was just, I think sometimes we just think, oh man, I'm stuck in a cycle. And, I think there is power in renewing your mind where it's like the spirit is
could there be an actual reason to these things cropping up in my body?
We hear about postpartum depression. It's like, I've never been anxious. And then all of a sudden my hormones are fluctuating.
And there's reasons to that too. And and it's like, it's funny. We always want it to be so simple. Oh, it's just spiritual and and for sure it can be. And there's huge components of that. You also went through postpartum, are losing sleep. Your minerals are all going to the baby. Having thyroid issues postpartum is one of the most common things. And sometimes also people try to fix everything with a supplement. Be careful with herbs. That's another thing. So they'll jump to ashwagandha. Yes. So you want to jump to minerals or vitamins and nutrients first before herbs. Because if you don't know if you have low cortisol, ashwagandha will only lower cortisol. So if you have potentially low, it could make it worse and make your fatigue worse. But if you have high, it could help short term, never take it long term. Okay. So you want to cycle herbs, be short with them, and know from testing.
Is that even similar to with the Bible? It's eat what's in harvest. So cycle through the land.
Like diet variation, the same way, rest the land. That's what allows the minerals to restore. We stopped doing that in farming. And so if you look back, Bible, also when there was mold in a home in the Bible, they burned it. Burn it to the ground is what the Bible says. So just all these principles that are so rooted in truth. It's And they would try to remediate, but that was.
I feel like if I could over spiritualize this or maybe put a spiritual bow on it, I feel like there's so much more wisdom in the Bible than we actually realize. And then sometimes we get so ahead of ourselves with wisdom and knowledge and all these things. But okay, well, again, college, career, all that stuff's not bad. But I'm going to go make my own path. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go, that we maybe forget the basics. And as Americans, especially, maybe we've forgotten the basics of like, well, how do we farm? How do we do our health? Like, what is more important? Or is it, oh, well, I want to do this procedure to look good?
For sure. On like the vanity side of things, I think through chronic illness, I will say one really, really positive thing. You're just humbled. Like when this is so crazy. I remember walking in somewhere and it was when I was starting to get better, but I still was like way heavier, covered in eczema. And like my friends that I knew didn't recognize me, or like people won't open doors for you. It's just interesting. Yeah, like they treat you differently because you look differently. And it's like, I don't never want to be that person towards someone else. But also it's just like, it's somewhat natural that people are like looking at you differently, like when all of this stuff is going on. But I guess to your point, when you were talking about like going back to the basics, I mean, really, really getting the minerals and the nutrients and the vitamins, understanding. I will say there's a part of it that's misinformation. Like my grandparents are farmers, and I've read their magazines and their articles, and it talks about how like GMOs are the way to feed the world and there's no health effects. And so a lot of it, I think in a way, is also like the misinformation where people have really, really good intents and they're just not knowing, I'd say, the full truth or the scope of it.
Okay, so as someone that you might have even thought in this season, man, will my husband even be attracted to me if I don't feel like I look like myself when you were in that? So what is someone's going through a season, maybe it's not health, maybe it's just confidence. What's your hope of like how to restore health, belief for beauty, belief for hope again to someone that's felt like they've been in a hidden season?
I mean, don't put your worth in the way you look. Would probably, and that's way easier said than done.
Yeah.
But putting your worth in, I'd say what God says about you and taking those steps and partnering with him as well for healing and being healthy. Because here's the thing. We all have beautiful things about us that make us unique. Health is beauty, in my opinion. And I don't want to look like her, or I don't want to look like this person. I just want to look like a healthy me. And so like really centering like God, who did God make me to be, right? He made me to be healthy so I could also fulfill what he has for me in my life and what he's called me to, right? To serve and to give back. And so like viewing it as like I'm wanting health to have mass impact, and like my worth is found in him, where situationally, because here's the thing, people walk through cancer, people walk through so many things where you don't look the same. Your eyebrows fall out, your lashes, your hair, whatever it is. Like you're still beautiful and you're still worthy, but it's like not putting my worth in that was probably honestly one of the best things that happened to me. And it took me some time to say that, but God does restore and he does redeem. But it also made me not like, I'm like, what's the word for it? I don't like look at my worth now as like, okay, this is the way I look. Where I felt like I put a little bit more of an emphasis on it, and it's natural as girls sometimes just to put maybe your worth in that and like the way that you look. And so through losing it, it just shifted my perspective where it was actually a good thing. But for your question about God restoring it, it's like God wants us healthy and whole. And so I view like beauty as health. But your worth isn't in that if you're walking through a season of sickness. Right. So
I saw this post by this one person that I don't know well, but I've followed, I feel like there's some people follow. I'm like, I don't even know how I started following you, but I am. Her name is Bridget, and then she has been going through a cancer journey.
Yeah.
She posted something and she said, choose your partner like your life depends on it, because it might.
What are you talking about? It's sad.
And it's just the way that he loves her and cares for her. Again, I don't know them personally, but watching that, I was like, man, there is so much beauty in the world. I love beauty. I love to do art, interior, like dress yourself well, express yourself. But I'm like, there's so much more to the equation that I hear what you're saying.
Their intimacy is deepened.
And
that like, you will never have if you won't go through those hardships, where like the hardships are a blessing. Mm-hmm. It's still really testing, but
what if there wasn't that element of trust, of care, of actually loving someone? And so I'm thinking of the people that are watching this of, well, I just need to get my health journey so I can look good to find somebody or feel good.
Yeah, that's where I'm like, I don't want to misconstrue that, because it's like I was still beautiful and I was still worthy, even though outwardly I had all of this crap going on and I maybe didn't look like myself, but like my worth wasn't found in that. And where it's like, even if other people or friends maybe were like treated me differently, it's like the people who loved me, my good friends, my parents, it's like, No, you know? And so it's like that actually was a really good thing that happened to me. And it took some time to say that, but it is. And it is perspective. And I also think it really does build intimacy. You only get that intimacy through going through something really, really difficult, right?
And you've even gone through surgeries recently
I know.
Your post-birth experience, because it did go differently than you expected. And so again, and that just gets the whole point of it's not one or the same of, oh, well, she was healed and then it's all good.
It's up and down.
And then
again, like the world's
broken.
Yeah. Like my husband had to be like patient through that. Like that was really tough. I had 4 surgeries post C-section of like things that went wrong. And so that's tough. Like I'm thinking about like what we've been through physically. Like, yeah, that does breed a lot of like trust and intimacy and care. And like, you don't always get that through like everything being all sunshine and rainbows and roses, you know? So
yeah,
it can be a good thing.
My husband said something of, it's easy when it's hard and it's hard when it's easy. Of like sometimes when it's easy going on, it's just so easy to coast and you're not really building the character or the grit or the connection. Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, I want to get better at when it's easy. So the hard's not as hard, or I don't have to just go through the hard. But I think I was talking to someone else about this last night even of, I just think we're not truly prepared for the hard times. And so they wreck us so much more. And so I want to live more and not in a mountain and valley mindset, but more of like a landscape of I know there's going to be both. And so I have this joy that lasts through both. I have this grit that lasts through both. And I feel like that's a faith perspective too. It's not just, okay, I'm here, God, show up, fix it, or it's all good. I can breathe again. Yeah. But you're in the midst of both.
Yeah. It's like, it's a peace that surpasses all like understanding our circumstance. 100%. Right. And it's like, I think that just shows God's presence, God's love through your life and your relationship with him when you have that. And it's, you kind of need that renewal in mindset every day where I remember somebody's like, oh my gosh, 25, which is so interesting because I do feel, because I lost 2 to 3 years, I always feel 2 to 3 years behind. And I wonder if it's because I just didn't do anything in that time period. But I always said, like, I truly feel like I'm on borrowed time. And I mean that as a good thing. Yeah. I didn't expect to make it. So everything seems like such a bit, I don't want to lose that. I have like an awe for life. Like I'm shocked. And I don't want to lose that. I hope I don't forget that as time goes on.
I love that. And not to equate chronic health with singleness, because singleness is a gift in itself. But if you are in a season of, man, I have this longing, like I feel it so intensely, I am so grateful for the time of realization in my singleness when I wasn't dating someone and I realized I needed to heal, because I'm like, man, I remember that season. 1, I see how God moved through it. But then 2, that makes me more grateful for where he takes me of, again, not just singleness to marriage, like one's bad and one's good, but the answer of desires, the realization of healing. And so whether you're in a situation of physical healing or heart healing, I hope that you take some encouragement from this episode from Ava. And if you really do want to reach out to Ava for any health questions or just follow along with her because she's so joyful and beautiful and kind, where can they find you?
Well, so my Instagram is ava.lanelle. It's hard to spell. It's my middle name, Lanelle. Or if you're dealing with any type of chronic health issue, Dr. Pompa's on Instagram, or you could just go to pompaprogram.com. They have free trainings, webinars, or you can even do like the cellular reset. If you are dealing with stuff and want to do further testing and like meet with an expert to go over your history and see if there could be a potential alignment, you can also book the testing and meet with an expert as well. So yeah.
Amazing. Well, I hope that you will schedule a notification for next Thursday when we come back for the new podcast. I'm so grateful that you guys are here. And until next time.